Welcome to the Attic Library. I'm Rex Baker. In this episode, we'll review the book 15 Secrets Successful People Know About Time Management by Kevin Kruse. Now, there's a couple of different Kevin Kruses out there. There's one who's a professor at Princeton. This particular Kevin Kruse is New York Times best-selling author, speaker, that sort of thing. Wrote this book probably back around 2015. Looks to be self-published. So let's jump into it and see what it's all about. Kevin Kruse starts off with an idea. Well, it's not an idea, it's a fact. You get 1,440 minutes each day. That comes out to 24 hours. Do you stop to think about that? How often do we think, wow, I've got 1,440 minutes today. What am I going to do with them? Well, what old Kevin says we need to do is realize that time is one thing we cannot get back. You can get sick, you can recover. You can fail at something and you can pull out of the failure and be successful. You can mend a broken relationship. There's a lot of different things that we can do in life to get something back. Time is one thing that once gone, you can't get it back. The rich person, the poor person, people of all races, genders, whatever, ages, we all have the same 24 hours. We all have the same 1,440 minutes in each day. Success or lack thereof, even mediocrity, is usually found in how we spend our 1,440 minutes in each day. So time is the great equalizer. It is something that the richest ruler is going to be brought low eventually by time. Time is going to catch up with all of us. So spend your time wisely. And Kevin here has some good ideas. Let me look at one thing that jumped right out at. This is just an example of how I like this book. You just open it up and here's something to stop and think about. Why minutes, not seconds? He talks about all the different things that you can do in 1 minute. Let me read a few. You can do 30 sit-ups. You can write a thank you note. You can read a poem. You can have a great idea. You can water your plant. You can pet your cat. You can eat an apple. It may take a little more than a minute, but drink a glass of water. Give a donation. You can apologize to someone. You can smile. You can take a photo that will turn into a memory. You can journal. You can hug someone you love. You can have one really, really good kiss. Recall a happy moment, and you get the idea. So I was reading through this, and that was one of these things that just struck me as, wow, there's a lot of good things that I can do in 1 minute in the course of a day. Something that may add value to my life or to someone else's life, and it only takes a moment. It only takes a minute to tell someone you appreciate them. It only takes a minute to send a supportive text to a family member or a friend who's kind of going through a tough time. So that's just an idea of what you get in this book. Just a little thing. You know, the book costs, I don't remember what it costs, 10, 12, 15 bucks. Got it on Amazon like you do so many books these days. But that one thing right there, if you put it in effect in your life, then you're going to be the kind of person who other people want to see you coming. So the title, 15 Secrets Successful People Know About Time Management, what Kevin Kruse did was he interviewed some successful people. Richard Branson, Mark Cuban, people like that have, and put some of their quotes in there. But a lot of it is also just the life experiences of the author. So it throws a lot of things in here in really no particular point of importance. It's, like I said, it's the kind of book where you can pick it up at any point in the book and get something useful for that moment in time. So I got a few notes here that I jotted down, and I'm just going to go through these as we review this book. Kruse comes up with what he calls the MIT, most important task, MIT. Every day, you need to basically schedule your day around your most important task. This is something that if you do it, your day is successful, it's productive. If you don't, your day is not productive. You didn't get everything out of this day that you wanted. So your most important task, whatever that might be on that particular day. And here's where he's coming from. He says, don't worry about a to-do list. Don't work from a to-do list. To-do lists have their place, but really when it comes to accomplishing big important things, they're highly overrated. So don't work from a to-do list. Instead, work from your most important task. Whatever your most important task is for a day, write it down on a calendar and schedule the calendar around your most important task. And work from a calendar rather than a to-do list. And really you need to schedule some time in the morning to work on that. You don't need to say, well, tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock, I will get around to my most important task for the day. You need to put some time in on that task in the morning when you're fresh, your brain is fresh, you're not tired. Don't spend the most productive hours of your day on things that do not require cognitive brain power. You're sharpest in the morning usually. That's when we have we're rested and you have your best time of day to do things that require critical thinking. So don't waste the morning scrolling through Facebook or Twitter or those sorts of things or answering emails. Set aside some time in the morning to get important things done that require your best thinking. It's easy to say, well, I'll do that after lunch. After lunch, I'm brain dead. After lunch, I can't think. So put your stuff after lunch that you can do mundanely without a lot of brain power. But reserve your most important task for the morning when you're sharp. Here's a big one. Don't begin your day answering emails, because when you do that, you fall into someone else's priorities. I know. Emails are important. I have people in my life that will send me an email and then 5 minutes later, did you get that email I sent you? What? No, I haven't checked it yet. Emails should not run your schedule. Here's the thing, when you get up in the morning and hey, do I do this sometimes? Yes, because I scan emails. I look to see if I've got an important one from an important person. But when you start off your day answering emails, then you are letting someone else pull you into their orbit. You are saying, all you people out here who have my email address, your agenda right now is more important than my own. And that's not a way to successfully work on your most important task. Email is a big waste of time. Here's what Kruse says do, and I really like his idea on this. Check them things about 3 or 4 times a day, but not every 15 minutes, not every 5 minutes. Turn off your email notifications on your smartphone or on your computer. You don't need to be interrupted every time you get an email. If you're the kind of person that just, oh, I need to answer this email. Oh, I just got an email. Oh, let me check it. Then you're not going to get much done in the way of something that's really important. You're going to get a lot of stuff done, but none of it's going to matter at the end of the day. So don't start your day with email. Here's a good point that I hadn't really thought about before. By the way, I'm reading off a sheet of notes here. Kind of keeps me centered when I'm reviewing these books. Like this one. We always underestimate how hard it is to be our best self in the present moment. And I read that and I thought, wow, that's pretty good stuff. I'm always underestimating how hard it is to be the best I can be right now. You know what I think sometimes? I'll be my best tomorrow. Boy, next week I'm going to knock it out of the park. When really the hard thing, the challenge, is being our best right now. We don't procrastinate because we're lazy. We procrastinate because certain tasks are not fun. I looked at that and I thought that sort of makes sense. Yeah, I struggle with procrastination sometimes. I put things off. But usually I don't put them off because I'm a lazy bum. I put them off because I don't like doing them in the first place. Things that I enjoy doing on the job, I get on them and get them done. Things that are pain in the you-know-what, kick that can down the road. That's where procrastination comes in. It's not because we're lazy, it's because there's some things we don't like to do. A good tip I got out of this particular book is to keep a notebook handy and write down good ideas when they come across your mind. Go ahead and write it down. And I recommend getting a notebook. And I got this one. It's just kind of open it up and write in it. Now, you may notice right there on the edge, my hound dog Spice got a hold of this particular book, but she did a number on it right there on the corner. I have a lot of books that my dog has chewed on, some totally demolished. I'll do a whole episode on books that my dog has chewed at some other point. But write things down. You can have $1 million idea, and if you don't write it down, what are you going to do at the end of the day? Forget it. I've done that. What was that great idea that I had earlier? I don't remember. Well, what good does that do? If you don't remember the best idea in the world, then you might as well have never had it. Most of us have some really good ideas in the course of a day or a week. Write them down so that you can go back and reference them. Meetings are a big waste of time. I know some of you out there go, but we have to have meetings, Rex. That's where we talk about stuff. Exactly. That's where we talk about stuff. Peter Drucker says you can meet or you can work, but you can't do them both. So when it comes to meetings, these are some things that Kruse pointed out that I really liked in pointing those things out because I thought it was just me. But one thing is meetings are, a lot of times they start late, they're not well organized. Your outgoing, extroverted people dominate the conversation when really sometimes you need to be hearing from the more introverted, thoughtful people. But they just sort of sit back because the wrong people are doing the talking at the meetings. 11 million meetings a day in good old United States of America. 11 million. Think of how much time we're spending sitting up in meetings. This is one thing I've observed about particularly bureaucratic settings like state agencies, universities, big places. They love to meet. Why? Because if we have a meeting, we can pretend like we are busy doing something when really we're not doing anything. So you look back at the day and, well, what did we accomplish today? Well, we met and we talked about fill in the blank. And I learned this when I looked at in my own life and I realized how much time I'm spending in meetings that, I may get an email from someone, Rex, can you attend this meeting at 1 p.m. or 1:30 or 2 o'clock Thursday afternoon? We'd really like to have you there. And while I don't want to make them angry with me, I don't want to make them unhappy, so yes, I'd be glad to attend your meeting. And what that does is it shoots the afternoon. Because at 2 o'clock, by the time the meeting's over, it's 3:30. Really not enough time to get anything else started. So meetings are not a good way to get your most important task of the day completed. Now, tip here, this is not in this book, it's just something I figured out. If you've got to have a boring meeting, have it in the afternoon. Because in the morning, when you're sharp and your brain's on fire with good energy and ideas, if you waste it in a 2-hour meeting, then after lunch, you're not going to feel like getting anything done. So take your boring meetings and have them in the afternoon. And in my job, we have moved our weekly staff meeting to after lunch because we talk about routine things and it doesn't require a lot of brain power. It's just sort of a checking in where the right hand knows what the left hand is doing. So let's do that in the afternoon and save the morning for our best thinking. Another thing about meetings, there's something that Kevin Kruse refers to it as Parkinson's law of trivialities. That in meetings we spend most of our time on trivial issues, and the least amount of our time on important issues. Have you ever been in a meeting where some mundane line item gets tossed out there for discussion, and another person wants to jump in, and the next thing you know, you've spent 30 minutes chasing a rabbit on some little trivial issue. And that's what meetings do a lot of times, is we wind up wasting a lot of valuable time on a trivial discussion. And think, we only have 1,440 minutes each day. So if you spend 30 minutes of them talking about something dumb in a staff meeting or a whatever kind of meeting, then, or a board meeting or this meeting or that meeting, then that's 30 minutes of your life you cannot get back. Learn to say no. And that's tough for us people pleasers. We want everybody to like us. So when someone asks us to do something that's going to take some time, oh, well, of course, I would be glad to do that. And the next thing you know, you've wasted half a day doing something that someone else wants you to do that really is not in the least bit part of your most important task for the day. The Pareto principle. This is named after Dr. Pareto back in Italy. Vilfredo, I think, was his first, Vilfredo, something like that, his first name, back in the late 1800s in Italy. And he came up with what we basically know today as the 80-20 rule. The idea that we get 80% of our best results from 20% of our effort. We get 80% of our problems from 20% of the problem areas in our lives. So no self-respecting book on time management would be complete without tipping of the hat to the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule, whatever you want to call it, because it's such a powerful idea, and it really is true. Here's a little tidbit, food for thought. According to Kruse, he quotes some researchers saying 41% of working professionals say they spend time each day on projects or on tasks that they do not enjoy and that can be done by someone else. Nothing will slow you down or knock you off track more than doing things that you do not like or that you are not good at. Boy, that's a big one right there. If you want to make sure that you get mired up in mediocrity, then get stuck doing things that you don't like and you're not good at them. I mean, sometimes that's part of life. We have to do those things. But when you find that you're doing them most of the time, that is a recipe for failure. Change your morning, change your life. Lots has been written about this. There are different authors out there. Motivational speakers have their books on getting started in the morning, getting your morning off to the right start, because that's when really we have the energy to do our best thinking and our best work. So, you want to change your life? Change your morning. The higher you try to climb or start a new endeavor, the greater the challenge in maintaining optimum focus and energy level. Wow, this is true. Don't let anybody tell you that success is easy, that you can just read a book and everything's going to change, or you can just go to a seminar and everything will change. When you start trying to make it change, when you start trying to put the work into it, you will find very quickly that it is more difficult the higher you climb on the ladder. The more you push for success, the more you try to accomplish something worthwhile that you haven't done before, it's going to get tough. Don't let anybody tell you any different. So there we have it. 15 Secrets Successful People Know About Time Management by Kevin Kruse. This book probably written back about 2015. It doesn't actually have a publication date in there, but it's just a good common sense book. It's easy to read. Of course, you can get it off Amazon like it and about a million other books right now. But go ahead and give it a read. Click subscribe. That way you'll get a notification whenever I come out with a new review. We're going to be coming out with one each week on a book that's got some good information in it that can hopefully change your life and improve things for you. I'm Rex Baker. This has been the Attic Library, and we'll talk to you later.